We're going to start with the schedule release. It came out last night, much anticipated. The league has really turned this into like a week-long event. We saw the stories trickling out. We heard yesterday that it looked like the Browns were going to start on the road at Carolina. Bingo. That leak was right. In fact, most of the leaks that I saw that were tied to one site were correct. So let's do this. Let's run through the schedule quickly. I'm sure most of you have already seen it, but we're going to throw it up there just so we can kind of break it down by month. I like to put the season into 4 quarters, just like a game.
Yep.
The first quarter, second, third, fourth. They're going to start with Carolina. I think that's a great week 1 opponent, not a great team. You're starting on the road. This was my dream matchup yesterday, and it was my dream matchup because I said you want to start against a weak opponent so you can get the win, and if you can do that on the road, always a bonus. Then the Jets, then the Steelers, which you said yesterday aren't the Steelers of old.
Yes, I agree. I think it's a pretty if you're looking for a favorable schedule, unlike when I was like, I want them to play a good team. Pretty favorable September.
I think they could go 3-0 there.
Yeah,
they could go 3-0.
And for me, that's an easy schedule, no matter who's at quarterback.
That's their easiest month, no doubt.
Okay, yeah. Well, it does get tougher as it goes on.
We set out last year, and we had arguably the worst schedule for a team in the NFL because we were hammered every week. So this time coming out to get out the gate with Carolina, and it's coming with the Jets next, we have a chance to ramp up here, right? Especially understanding all the circumstances that we're dealing with right now.
We don't know about who's going to be there. We'll talk about what we think is going to happen in the schedule. Let's go to October now. And I think the theme to the schedule, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, is it does get tougher as it goes.
It does.
So you get the easy month of September. Then you're at Atlanta. That doesn't scare anybody.
Nope.
The Los Angeles game is going to be great. I think the Chargers, they're going to be the sneaky pick in the AFC this year for me anyhow. New England pounded the Browns last year. I think they were ultimately a better team than they finished up last year. That's not going to be easy. Then you're at Baltimore, and then you get Cincinnati. That game, put the double circle around that one. That, for me, is my most anticipated game of the season because of when it lands, Halloween night, prime
time. When I saw that game on the schedule, I went nuts.
Yeah.
Battle of Ohio. Think about it. How often have the Bengals and Browns been good in the same year?
Not very often.
Very rarely happens.
Got to go back to Bernie and Boomer.
Bernie and Boomer, right? Mm-hmm. It's almost never happened since then. I think they're the 2 best teams in the division. We never know, but with the big caveat that if Deshaun Watson plays.
Sure.
If Deshaun Watson plays 17 games, I believe, and we were talking about this before the show, Bengals and Browns are neck and neck.
Sure.
And that Halloween Monday night in Cleveland, oh my God, that's going to be crazy.
There will be beverages flowing at the Beauty Line.
October got real.
It did. Real. So now we went from like the sort of the warm-up stage, right? Now we're into a really dicey month, and now let's go to November. Guys, I do think that is the theme is as it goes on, it does get a little better. We're going to see the week 9 will be the bye for the Browns.
Yeah.
Then you've got Miami. Guys, that Miami defense last year, I think the most underrated defense in the NFL. They brought the coordinator back even though they made a change at head coach. They've got talent on that side of the ball. Then you're at Buffalo. That, for me, is probably the hardest game that the Browns will have on their schedule. And then week 12, Tom Brady's coming to town.
Yeah.
The only thing we can hope for, and he's played in snow and bad weather in New England for years, but when you move to Tampa, I can attest to this, your blood thins out. So my hope is when he comes back, he's 45 now.
Yeah.
30 degrees at 45 feels different than it did when you were 35. So November is a bear, guys.
Well, every month the Browns schedule is really ramped up here, and so we better get the early ones in when we can.
Rack up the wins early.
And as we get to November, that's a tough dog sled here now.
Then
we could be dealing with a variety of quarterbacks playing here. And then we still have to play with confidence because we struggled at times last year,
no
too.
doubt.
Especially since coming off the bye. That Miami game at Miami, that could be a hot game. You haven't been used to the heat. And
might be thinking about Buffalo next week.
Might be thinking about Buffalo next week. And they got some upgrades at receiver, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
All right, let's do December now. December's always a fun month because you never know what the weather's going to be for the home games. It depends on where your road games are, but here's the way it shakes out. Houston won't be a weather deal. Cincinnati likely will. Baltimore here, that will certainly be a weather deal. And then you've got New Orleans here as well. Guys, the thing I love most about this is you do have those back-to-back games at home over Christmas, not a distraction, being on the road, away from families. I think that's an advantage for the Browns to be home for the last 2 weeks of December.
But unfortunately, though, I agree with you, but those are their only 2 home games in their last 6 games total.
Which
4 of the last 6 on the road.
That seems odd, doesn't it?
It does.
I
They have a lot of home games early. I mean, I mean, we've seen it. Beyond the September, like even into October, the first couple of games, like the Browns may be favored, except for maybe the Charger game, but that's at home. Maybe in their first 6 games.
Yeah,
I
think that's very likely.
Yeah,
I think that's likely.
Let's go to the Houston game. How intriguing is that game?
Especially
right? In Houston,
if Watson is
if Watson's
playing.
under center, right? They're going to have some extra added firepower to that game.
Sure.
But that could set the tone for you for the final month here. Right? It could be a very important game to the Browns.
Either he throws for 500 and runs for 100, or he plays terrible in that game. I don't think there's a middle ground with that.
It's an extreme game.
No in between.
No in between with that.
All right, let's throw up the January game. So here's what things looks like in January. You've got the Commodore. You're actually in Washington on the 17th, and you're at Pittsburgh on the 18th. You mentioned it, Bull. You love being home for the last 2 weeks of December. You hate closing the season with 2 games on the road because every game counts the same. No game is more important than any other.
Yeah.
But the reason they play differently as the season goes on is because you know your situation. And if you don't have a cushion built up going into week 17 and 18, you got to go on the road.
Yeah.
Now, at that point, Washington could be out of it. We don't know what they're going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's playing quarterback for them.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
So we don't know what they're going to be. And by the way, we look at all these games as we stand here in May, and we think we know what New Orleans is.
You don't.
We don't know. We don't know what they're going to emerge as in 2022.
Every year there's surprise teams.
So I hate this. I hate this more than anything we do year round. The only thing that's more ridiculous than this is when guys put out a mock draft for next year.
Oh, yeah, right.
Now you're projecting 8-9 months out. We're going to project 4 months out, and then move on as we go. Bull, I want 2 numbers from you. I want how many games the Browns win if they have Deshaun Watson for the whole season.
Yeah.
How many games do they win if they don't have Deshaun Watson?
All right, Jay, I got my numbers. If they have Deshaun Watson for the whole season, I got the Browns going 10-7.
Okay.
If they don't have him for the first 8 games, I have them going 8-9. Now, fortunately, their early season schedule is favorable. Otherwise, I would have had that record even worse. Because I think Jacoby Brissett will play the games if Watson doesn't play. He's a serviceable player, but he's not that good.
Sure.
I think he'll be able to get just enough wins considering the competition. But obviously, I like them to win 2 more.
So
in
you
the
have
early slate.
so if you would, his war is 2. Essentially.
Well, but
and the war not
for
against,
half a season.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you told me, well, what's their record if Deshaun misses the whole season?
You got him with 6.
I got him with 6 wins,
Okay.
maybe even 5.
Brad?
So I'm to the far left of Bull on this one here.
Okay.
I'm much more optimistic about the Browns if Watson is under center. Right. Here's a guy coming off a year of non-playing. He's going to be out to prove a point. He's going to play at a high level. If they got him for 17 games, I predict him to go 13-4, 12-5 at the worst, but 13-4 is where I think they're going to settle. Now, if he's not under center except for the last 9 games, I got him going 10-7. Because why? Unlike Bull, I've got Mayfield under the center, right?
So you think he sticks around?
Who is under the same pressure to prove himself to be a better player, right? So I can't see them going on the losing side of this thing. The Browns are in a win-win situation. They may not know it yet, but they're in a win-win situation.
So right now, you're buying into the theory that Baker is number 2 on the depth chart. They're not going to give him away, and he's their insurance policy if they don't have Watson.
I'm buying into it because I know the business, right? He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's going to be right there to get up on the center.
Interesting. Okay, G.
Look, I'm going to tell you what. I agree with Uncle Brad.
Optimistic.
On one thing. That 13-4, I think he's right in the wheelhouse where we need to be. With Deshaun Watson, I got him at 12-5. I got him at 12-5. Right. Without Watson, I got him at 10-7.
I wish I was as optimistic as you guys.
Because here's the thing, we keep forgetting. I keep telling y'all. I'm gonna just keep reminding y'all.
Talk about the weapons.
How good is this man? This top 5. This is top 5. Guy can move. Guy can be in the pocket. He drops dimes. And you got a running game. Think how good Baker Mayfield was. People talk about 2020. 2020 Baker was top 10 quarterback because he had a running game play action. What you gonna think they're gonna do when you got Deshaun Watson?
Gee, the
with that
schedule's
same
a lot
running
tougher,
game?
though.
Not tougher than last year.
No, but it's a lot tougher than when Baker won those games. A lot tougher.
Those first 5, if he's playing, come on, I'll take the Panthers.
They'll lose one, though.
The
Jets.
Jets.
He's not gonna win. He's not gonna beat every team they're better than.
Hey, Mikey, can we put his numbers back up one more time?
Put them back
we
up.
put his numbers
Give us
up one
one
more
sec,
time.
yep.
So you guys are in line with each other.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure So you've got 12-5, and what were you? I had you with 10-13.
No. I had 10-7 with 9 games.
Yeah, but 13 wins. So you're the most optimistic so far.
Yeah, no question.
So,
you
all right. I'm actually,
you have an all-star caliber player here.
Mine kind of splits the difference between the most optimistic and the most pessimistic. The highest with Watson was 13, Brad. The lowest was 10.
Yep.
I've got with Watson 11, and I've got them without Watson 9. But I will say, I do think that if Watson is out from under the cloud, that's him playing under a cloud, okay? That's if the commissioner hasn't said anything.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a different number at you guys.
Okay.
If the commissioner comes out and says, after our exhaustive investigation, we have found that Deshaun Watson neither violated any laws or impacted the Shield in a negative way, it's over. There will be no suspension. Now the cloud's lifted.
I'm like this.
Now I'm putting him at 13 wins.
I'm not changing
Because
him.
doing.
he may, even if he plays, he's going to be like Kobe. When Kobe was on trial, he was playing under that cloud. I think nobody wants to do that.
I think you guys are crazy. Nobody's winning 13. The only team that could possibly win 13 games in the AFC is Buffalo because their division's not that good.
We don't know.
The West and the North are too good for a team to win 13 games.
We don't know because we don't know what Deshaun's going to be. If we get MVP quality Deshaun, we could do 13 wins.
I know, but you got MVP quality Joe Burrow last year, and they still won 10 or 11 games. It's the same thing. Watson could do this. Could be an MVP and still win 10 or 11 games.
You have an all-star quarterback.
Facts.
You got a backfield that's out of this world. Why we don't play them both together sometime at some point?
I know, that's a good point.
Besides the point.
All right.
And defensive guys, we got the whole thing.
They don't have DeQuell Jackson playing.
No, they don't. I wish they did.